We coexist together because we're all Canadian. We're part of Canada, and we're bonding together against the common enemy, the United States. What a horrible country.
Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love. I'm in Toronto.
Welcome to episode 1625 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto's Skyline. A podcast and book from Nick Iones from Fusion Corp. And Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his in-person debut, is Jeremy Hotz. Welcome, Jeremy.
In person.
You have no, let me guess, you have no memory of making your Toronto Mic debut.
No. See?
We did a Zoom.
Yeah.
I wrote down the description. I should have got the episode number, but I chatted with you about working at Yuck Yucks.
Oh, boy.
Your role in the newsroom.
Wow.
Just for laughs.
Yeah.
Your move to the United States of America to be discussed.
Yes.
Speed 2.
Wow.
Did you get an Oscar nom for Speed 2?
I did not.
You were snubbed. That's when we used the word snubbed. And more. And we talked for an hour and 16 minutes. So we have had an hour, 16-minute conversation via Zoom, but I'm kind of with you where I don't remember Zooms either. Like, I want an in-person conversation, and here you are.
Yeah, we came in and we got up your driveway somehow. And Mike, you gotta shovel it.
Oh, is it slippery? Is it slippery out there? I gotta salt that thing. I'll get one of my lackeys to do it. But can you tell us who is in the room with us today? Like, maybe start with the woman on your left, and then I want to know about what's in your arms here. Because the woman to your left is not in your arms now.
No, that's my road manager, Sophia, whom without there would be no show, because all I do is the show. She just points and goes, I go, what do I do? She goes, points, and I walk that way. And then there's the stage. That's however else without her, no.
No, Sophia, I know your mic. You don't have to talk in the mic, but I did unmute it if you wanted to. How is it working with Jeremy Hotz?
Very entertaining.
Like, wink if you're being held against your will.
There's no winking here.
No winking here.
No. We have a good time. We get along. And there's a lot of humor along the way.
Because it's a real thing. I'm not. It's this. I'm this way off stage.
This is
thing.
You no shtick with you. Like, Jeremy Hotz is Jeremy Hotz.
Yep. Ask me the right questions and you'll get the right answers.
It's like that line in True. What is that show with Matthew McConaughey and geez, it'll come to me. But start asking the right questions, and I'm going to try to do that. What's in your arms, Jeremy?
That's Shackleton the Wonder Dog right here.
Is it like a comfort thing? Like, I'm happy you brought Shackleton, but does this make you relax during interviews?
No, that's not what it is. It's more about him, because if I don't hold him, then he has anxiety. So you see the two of us go back and forth with anxiety. We just give it and take it from each other, and that works.
So you brought Shackleton from California?
Yeah, because the fans, like, I showed him online, and then he became a star. So then that's what happened.
See, when you said it was Shaq, my initial thought was Eddie Shaq. Like, clear the track, here comes Shaq. And I was thinking Eddie Shaq. But Shackleton sounds like very formal.
You know, the explorer, what he did was he led a group of people into the Antarctic.
Okay.
And then he got lost, and he led them out, and they lived. So somehow he's a hero. Not responsible. He's a hero. Okay?
I pulled some choice clips, and a lot of ground I want to cover here, but I got a nice note when I said you were coming by to make your in-person debut.
Yeah.
And as far as you're concerned, it's your Toronto Mike debut because you have no memory of the Zoom we had.
Neither do you.
I
So there you go. What year was it?
You know what?
You don't even know.
I know answers to all of this is at my fingertips. I'm going to search it here. Jeremy, hold on.
Going back
Jeremy
into the
Hotz,
archives.
Toronto mic'd.
Here it is.
We could do a lot of interviews, but it was episode 980,
Okay, that's a long time ago. That's before 1,000.
January 6th. Oh, Jan 6th, 2022.
Okay, not that bad.
No, not that bad. I'm looking at the screen cap. You're wearing a...
How many
a
shows have you done? 1,649? How many?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. Wow.
But I got a nice note from John Wing.
John Wing. He's a comic. I knew him from when I started.
He writes, I used to take Jeremy Hotz drops. What's he talking about? Like, did you used to take Jeremy Hotz drops?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Do you ever, like, hang out with John? Isn't he in California?
No, he's here, but he was in California. Yeah. John lives here, I think. So I think he lives in Halifax or something.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe Toronto. I don't know.
Well, I got to follow up with John. If he's in Toronto, he's got to make his Toronto Mike in-person debut. But I know I had a conversation with Wing, also via Zoom, so I remember very little. But he was telling me he's able to perform Ralph Ben-Mergie's stand-up from whatever, early 80s or whatever.
That's hilarious.
Like, do you remember any Ben-Mergie stand-up?
Ralph?
Yes.
No, Ralph. I don't recall Ralph ever telling a joke.
Wings says he's going to come on and do the entire set.
That's incredible because I would laugh because I would probably remember some of it. I probably would. Ralph Ben-Mergie was the host of Fridays or Saturday nights at Yuck Yucks at the Downtown Club years ago. Yeah, and their stuff went down there. We saw Mike McDonald in a fist fight one night with someone in the crowd in front of the club after the show.
What kind of comic was Mike McDonald? I hear such glowing reviews from fellow comics.
Yeah, when I first started, he was the man. You know what I mean? Like he just was funnier than everybody. And then he was getting all the stuff, and then I don't know. Things go weird in show business, you know.
I do know. And another note, so I got this on Blue Sky. Are you on Blue Sky yet?
No, I'm not on Blue Sky. I must prefer cloudier weather.
Well, maybe Sophia can create a proxy account on Blue Sky just so I can tag it. But the Dalai Lama says, I said, Jeremy's coming over tomorrow. And he writes, what a coincidence. I just watched Dark Side of Comedy about Norm Macdonald last night. I'm sure he'll come up. Can you tell me what kind of comic was Norm, as if I don't know, what kind of comic was Norm Macdonald? So Mike McDonald, Norm Macdonald, unrelated.
They were unrelated, and Tracy McDonald's the third one. There's a lot of McDonalds that are comedians for some reason from Canada. Anyway, Norm, we did a gig together in Ottawa because we both started in Ottawa. He was a bit ahead of me. And we had a gig at the Chateau Laurier, and it was the worst gig that either of us did. So we always loved to see each other. And then one guy would go, remember that gig at the Chateau? I'll tell you what happened. We went in there, and it was set up by the owner of the comedy club.
Right.
And he said, it's at the Chateau Laurier, room 1246. So we go and we knock on the door. There's a guy there, and he goes, okay, we're going to do the show in this room. And it's just like there was a bedroom, and then there was like another room. And then he goes, they're going to come in, hide behind the curtains. Yeah, he did. And then we were there, and then he opens the curtains. He goes, surprise, everybody. It's Yuck Yucks comedians. And nobody clapped.
Well, that was a surprise.
They just all looked at him and thought, and the look on their face was, what have you done? That's true. So then we did that show, and they were sitting on the floor, I remember. They weren't even in chairs. They were just on the floor looking up at us like, like camp.
So we've already just in our early conversation here, we've had chats about Mike McDonald, Norm Macdonald, both gone too soon.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get older and you're
but they weren't old enough.
No, but comedy, it's a different kind of life, so you never know.
How are you holding up?
I'm okay. I got the dog.
You got the dog and you got Sophia, so
I'll be okay. I get lasagna for doing this, right?
Yeah, you want a Palma Pasta lasagna? I'll tell you, the owner of Palma Pasta, it's the Paciucci family, but Anthony Paciucci is the biggest Jeremy Hotz fan. He goes and sees you live all the time.
See, there you go.
So if he knows you're eating some Palma Pasta lasagna, you'll make his day. See how easy it is? All right, you get the Palma Pasta lasagna for sure. Absolutely here. Now, Angus, I don't know who Angus is, but he just says, you, Jeremy Hotz, are a wonderful person to your fans.
I am, actually. I'm good to them because...
Is that your burner account? Are you on Blue Sky as Angus?
I'm not on Blue Sky. What is Blue Sky?
It's like the new Twitter.
It's like Twitter without the Nazis.
Oh.
Like if you took Twitter and removed the Nazis.
What if you got a picture you want to show? Can you do that?
Yeah. 100%,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we're after this chat, this wonderful chat, I'm going to take a picture with you by Toronto Tree. So Dave Thomas calls it Toronto Tree. SCTV's Dave Thomas, not the guy Wendy's guy. He died. But
I know the guy.
That picture is going to, I'm going to put it all over the place.
Okay.
Including Blue Sky. So,
Will it be up in the blue sky so I'll be able to see it?
Sky. 100%. 100%. Speaking of Blue Sky, so by the way, Norm, I'll just say, Mike McDonald, I would see him on TV and I would respect his talents. But Norm McDonald, man, that guy was a legend to me. I consumed as much Norm McDonald as I possibly could.
That was your guy?
That was one of my guys. That guy and Jeremy Hotz. That guy. Hey, so great loss. I'm bouncing around now, but I'm thinking about you at Yuck Yucks. Did you see Jim Carrey at Yuck Yucks?
No, he was before me. I never did, but he did host something that I was on once. That's it. I didn't really see him much, and I never saw him. It's not like he played the comedy clubs in Los Angeles. He didn't.
I got a source telling me that apparently young Jim Carrey was going to host Just Like Mom. Do you remember Just Like Mom?
No, what is that?
It was like a game show, and they filmed it in Aging Court. Fergie Ulver hosted this thing. Kids would bake something, and the parents had to guess which one their kid baked. It's kind of a ridiculous.
You
thing.
know, he would have been good with kids, though. Honestly speaking, he would have been great because he was really he was a great actor that way. He could move and pull faces and stuff. He would have been fantastic.
Speaking of fantastic, Andrew Stokely, audio guru who helped me out when I was originally setting up this studio like 12 years ago, he worked on the Newsroom.
Oh, I was on that show.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And I watched the Newsroom. And so Andrew writes in, please tell Jeremy I say hi. I worked on the Newsroom with him many, many years ago.
Yeah, we were young and stuff, and we still got dates. That was
no
the
longer?
day, man. No, you try, but they say no now. They didn't before. They gave you a chance, Not anymore. Boy, the Newsroom, those were the days because, it was the CBC and there was no other show. And we just ran around the halls and it was all like people who work at the CBC, they're like, government people. And they would open their door and yell, shut up. And then shut up.
I had a guy over here named Colin Brunton. Do you know this name? Well, he was like a producer of the Newsroom, apparently. But anyway, I had him over because of his relationship with the Garys, Gary Topp and Gary Cormier.
Yeah.
But he was, so I brought up the Newsroom because he worked on it. And I
Yeah.
enjoyed the Newsroom very much, actually. And you were great on the Newsroom. But he told me this story about Ken Finkelman flying to New York or something to have an interview to become a writer on The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the story, basically the story is that Ken's in this interview and they're, he's gonna be a writer on the freaking Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point he excuses himself and he leaves the room and he goes straight to the airport and flies home.
Man. Ken didn't want to write on The Simpsons.
So I'm gonna look you in the eyes here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You got beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
You know this?
Yes, I've been told this.
Ken Finkelman, I would like to talk to him for a variety of reasons. And every time I go on, whether it be Blue Sky or elsewhere, and just say, is anyone friendly with Ken? I'd like to reach out. Basically, the responses I get make me think he has no friends. Like, what was Ken like?
Ken was a great guy, and he's a strange dude. But, sometimes he gets freaked out by things that aren't real. Okay, I'll tell you the story.
I'm ready.
So he calls me into the bathroom of his dressing room. And he goes, Hotz, look at the toilet. And there's a tiny black feather on the toilet. It's just landed there. And he goes, I can't use this. And I'm like, how come? And he goes, it's obviously some kind of voodoo thing. Oh. And I said, Ken, you hung your jacket over there and a feather came out of the jacket and fell on the toilet. And he goes, how do you know? Are you a detective? And then I just turned around and walked out of the dressing room. You know, come on.
That's a great story.
Come on.
Have you had any contact with Ken Finkelman since the newsroom?
I think he called, but I didn't pick up because I remembered the feather thing.
Well, maybe he's out there listening right now. So, Ken, I do want to talk to you. If you could write me, mike@torontomike.com.
Best show I was ever on in my life, honestly speaking, though. Right. Oh, yeah. No, he was ahead of his time in Canada. Like the Canadian television industry, if there is one, they should really embrace him and they should give him an award or something because he made a show. He was way ahead of his time. He made a very cool show way ahead of its time.
No argument from me. And again, you were great on it. I don't know what you were better in, though, the newsroom or Speed 2.
Well, you know, I'll tell you the story of that. Yeah. So the reason why I did Speed 2 was because I did the first 6 episodes of the newsroom at the CBC, and they didn't renew my contract. So I went and auditioned for Speed 2, and I got it. And then they tried to renew my contract. Too late.
Why didn't they renew your
CBC,
contract?
man.
But that's fucked up because that is as big a hit as CBC's going to get.
Yeah. So then what happened was...
And you were critically acclaimed in that role.
Doesn't matter. We you know.
Because if that's an HBO show, they lock you up for 5 years or whatever they do down there. Right? This is why Scott Thompson went on Larry Sanders' show.
That's right. You know, see how that works? CBC?
Well, you know, there's a possible...
Whenever I tell things like that, they just look at me and go, well, how come? And then I just, yeah.
But I think this is the home for that real talk. Like, we need to understand that, like, you know, I always say we eat our young in this country.
Oh, it's worse than that.
And this all kind of ties together where I wanted to go with you. Before we talk about your upcoming Très Miserable...
Nice.
Did I say that right? Richmond Hills Center for the Performing Arts. You are going to be, that's why you're here and not on Zoom, because you're actually in the GTA, because you're going to be there February 7th. And I'm dropping this episode today, which is February 4. When you say February, do you nail that R? Like some people say February.
Yeah, you do.
What is so, you say?
No, stop putting the R in and just, it's
No, but
silent.
I think the R belongs.
It's February.
Say it again.
February.
No, it's February.
No, you don't put the R in. You're saying Feb Brewery.
I'm looking at it right now. There's clearly an R in there.
There's clearly an R
the R
that
is
you
silent,
don't pronounce, and it is silent.
Right, like that T in Toronto you're not supposed to say. I get it now. Okay, but this is Richmond Hills Center for the Performing Arts. You're there February 7th. I'm saying it the way I like to say it, if you don't mind. And we're going to talk more about that later, but I wanted to talk about your living in the United States. So how long now have you been living in the USA? Most
of my life, it looks like 20 some odd years.
And what was the impetus for going there in the first place? Is it because CBC wouldn't renew you after 6 and you're like, if I want to do anything, I got to do it in the US of A?
No, it's because they never, I tried to get shows here and they just were didn't want me around at all. After the newsroom, they said, thank you for your service, essentially, and you've already done your thing for the country, and now we're going to give it to someone else. So you leave, you go, you leave, because they don't really have a legitimate industry. You leave, you go, you leave.
Because there's no opportunity for you to have your livelihood here as a funny guy,
Absolutely
funny actor.
None. They are the government already said stand-up comic is not, they're not legitimate performers. They're not legitimate entertainers. They already said that. Would you stay in the country that feels that? No.
No, and I will say, if you look at successful Canadian comics like yourself, you think Howie Mandel and you think like Jim Carrey we just talked about, they all left.
Well, you have to.
Like, who's here?
Nobody.
Howard Glassman is here.
He's Howie, but he's a good guy.
Well, he's a great guy. And just before I press record, and we'll get back to this American thing because I do have some clips I want to play, and I want to talk to you about this. But you do, I mean, this is your opportunity. You'll be on their show later this month. But you and Glassy, which you call him, you guys have a yuck stand-up history.
Yeah, we're all friends. So, yeah, he stayed at my house. He got drunk. I've got that on video.
Can I see that video? I'll post it to I actually have the admin login for the Humble and Fred Facebook page. I will drop that video today if you could get it to me.
It's $1,000.
And Howard, you might know this because I have a sponsor, not that kind of sponsor, but I have one, Great Lakes Brewery. I don't know if you drink beer.
I do.
I have beer for you too.
Is it light beer?
I have a lager, I have a very popular pale ale, and I have an IPA.
The lager would be the best for me.
I'll
then,
get you
probably.
a lager.
Yeah.
I'll get you a lager. But
Yeah.
you know who's not taking my Great Lakes lager is Howard Glassman, because he's been stone sober, at least when it comes to alcohol, for many years now. I think 9 years.
Really?
Yeah, so that video of yours, I think we could share it and be like, this was Howard before he
would be
stopped
so
drinking.
mad if I did that.
I don't think so, because he embraces the sobriety, right? I think he should be very proud of his sobriety, because he clearly had a problem. But we don't see, like, he kept it from us, if you will. And I knew him very well, but I had no idea he had a drinking problem.
Oh boy, he drools all over his shirt, and then I move in for the close up and the whole thing.
Well, quick aside is that when I married my wife about, I don't know, almost 12 years ago, he was at the wedding, and he did get hammered at my wedding, and he made an unscheduled speech that offended the entire country of the Philippines.
Of course he
I think
did.
he's on a do not fly thing. I don't think he's allowed.
It
to visit
offended the
Philippines.
entire country of the Philippines.
No joke.
Howard,
So he definitely didn't hide it as well as I think he hid it, because I saw it that day.
Glassy. Oh boy. I wish I could have seen that really, because you invite your friend to the wedding and then he screws up the whole thing.
Well, it was like, I had certain people were scheduled to make speeches, and I guess Howard felt like a pressure because he's a performer.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a wedding, do you feel you have to be funny?
Yeah, you should be. I've seen it
That's your job.
happen.
They're like, Jeremy, be funny.
I had a friend, Brian Hart, and Boyd Banks did the exact same thing at his wedding. I saw that. He said the most inappropriate thing in front of 5 young children.
So this is similar where, because Howard's a performer, I think he felt a pressure to perform, but he was hammered. So he didn't really, consider the audience and the content. Of
Oh, jeez. In this video that I have of him, though, he's got a lot of hair. You've never seen him with so much hair because he's so young, right? Tons of hair,
We're going to get this video, everybody. Absolutely here. So I'm going to play a little clip. You look comfortable there. You got your beer, your lasagna. I will give you a measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home.
Really?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
And because Sophia's here, I'm going to
Is that what they measure you before they put you in the coffin to make sure they cut the right length?
I know, you never know. So Sophia's getting one too.
Wow.
You never know if you have to measure something.
Don't worry.
Wow.
I'll measure you, Jeremy.
How come this only goes to 7 inches?
Well, you don't need that much. Come on. What do I know? What you're packing over there? Okay. So I'm going to play some. I just think this timing is interesting because, of course, you're here for the Richmond Hill show, which is going to be fantastic. That's the 7th of February. Are tickets still available?
Yeah, there are some.
Okay. So now, like, literally, if you're hearing this, jump on this
There
now.
are. Yeah.
Jeremy Hotz, Richmond Hill. Jump on it now. But you're here. Like I'm practically enlisting in armed forces, like ready to go to war against the United States, where you now live. I'm just going to play some clips from you back in the day, and then we're going to talk about this, okay?
We coexist together because we're all Canadian. We're part of Canada, and we're bonding together against the common enemy, the United States. What a horrible country. I live there now. They're the most un-Canadian people you will ever meet in your life. They look like us. That's the end of it right there. They're not like us at all. They're morons.
Very prescient. Like, that plays differently today than it did back then.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of... I'm the miserable guy and I talk about things that are miserable, and now the world is, so I've really come into fashion right now. Yeah, it's really good. I love when this happens.
We caught up to you finally.
Yeah, I've been saying this for years, and now I just walk down the street going, see?
Fucking remember, one more here, just because we're in the road.
You can't call an American on anything because they're violent. They'll get mad at you. They'll tell you right to your face, screw you! Canadians don't do that. That's why the rest of the world loves us. We know how to hate strategically. Somebody bumps into us, we don't yell, screw you! We go, oh, excuse me, I didn't see you there. And then as we're walking away, we think, what a fucking asshole.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty much the difference between the two countries right there. So
one last clip, and then I'm going to explore that with you here.
Canada and America, we live right next to each other, and we kind of get along. Or they think we get along with them, but we really don't. We're vitally afraid of them, aren't we? Because they have guns, and we reason.
I forgot about this.
The guy who reasons with the crazy guy fucking loses.
True.
That's the problem.
Wow.
So talk to me here. Like
Wow.
you sort of had these, this is a bits from, decades ago, I think.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
today I'm listening and, I don't know what your thoughts are. I'm booing the Star Spangled Banner at sporting events. Any thoughts on that?
Listen, here's the thing. Today he went, he spoke to, and he said that he's postponing the thing.
Oh, yeah, yesterday, yeah.
So that's because I think his people said, wait a minute, they're going to turn off our power.
And we're going to do it
Shut
on
up.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, so there you go, right?
But then it feels like that sword of Damocles just hangs there, right? Like it's like you get a 30-day reprieve. But I don't trust this guy. Like
He's not. There's going to be no. He's done this to make a point, and he's said 30 days to maintain some sort of stupid control in his pea-sized brain. Okay, that's what's happened there. It's childish stuff, and it's easy to figure out what he's doing. Think of the most childish thing, and you'll get it. Okay.
But Jeremy, he gets 4 years. We're in like month 1.
We should have got a lot more years, but that didn't happen.
Come again?
In prison. I mean,
So you live in America. You are a Canadian. Are you in favor of Canada becoming the 51st state like Trump wants?
well, that would help me and the dollar. So there's that. But other than that, no, of course not. Of course not. First of all, it would be by far the biggest state because it's the entire country. How stupid is that?
But this guy is going to talk 51st state, and then he's going to make us like Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's a Commonwealth, isn't it?
Well, they don't get to vote federally.
They don't get to vote.
Well, they get to vote locally, like their own representation or whatever, but they don't get a vote for president, for example.
Because they know that they would never vote for him. That's the thing when they do that. That's obvious. God, I hate that you can't do this and you can't do that.
Are you getting like I don't know about your friend circle in the United States, but is this coming up a lot? Like, are Americans even aware of what Trump is threatening to their greatest ally forever? I love your bits because you talk about how they think we're friendly, but we don't. They're violent and we don't really.
Yeah, somebody
trust them.
wrote under one of my videos about I said I wanted to be a Marine, and they go, someone wrote, he's not a Marine because he's an effing Canadian, is what she wrote right there because of what's been going on in the news. That's what she wrote.
Isn't that wild though? Like the Trumpers, of which we know there are many.
Like now Canada's an enemy because of him. That's ridiculous. The Canada who sent planes to help with the LA fires, which is more than that man who is the president has done. What do you want me to say? And you voted for him. Come on. Smarten up.
Smarten up. I mean, this guise of fentanyl leaking over the border, I was reading today, it's 0.2% of the fentanyl making its way into the United States is coming from Canada.
Well, again, it's just to show power. In Canada, you can easily pick on because we don't really fight. We just don't do it. We're passive aggressive. We'll pull out the rug from under you so you fall down and bang your head on the floor. That's what we do. And then we go, sorry.
Before you showed up at my door, you were at Zoomer, right?
Yes, we're at the Zoomer Radio.
Talking to Andy Wilson. And again, we talked earlier, but Andy Wilson has a tie-in with Humble and Fred because he was an intern for Humble and Fred back in the day. And I will tell the listenership that Andy Wilson is in the calendar to make his Toronto Mike debut in early March, I think. But was there any talk about Canada versus USA on Zoomer? Like with you?
Yeah. They, everybody's talking about why he's picking on Canada, and it's just like, I don't really get it. It's not, the fentanyl thing is a weak argument. Come on,
Oh, it's bullshit. But I think that he can use that and say, I'm acting for the security of my country, which means I can act unilaterally, like as like a dictator. Like I don't need to go through Congress to tariff this country because it's in our best interest security wise. Like I think that's the rube.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, at the end of the day, he's a moron. So, just if you wait long enough, nothing will happen. I know this.
So we just got to wait him out.
Or turn off the electricity. That's, one of the two. Come on,
And when they roll the tanks, you're gonna come back home and enlist and be by my side as we defend this country
Against the Americans? There won't be a war. Are you kidding
with our
me?
plastic Kentucky Fried Chicken knives.
I'll call my friend Putin. He'll help us.
Let's call him now. Let's call him right now. One thing I want to ask you before we move on, I have one more clip I want to play too.
Okay.
So this came up in the FOTM community, Friends of Toronto Mike. You didn't know you were an FOTM because you don't remember our Zoom, but you were already a friend of Toronto Mike.
FOTM, huh?
But you won't forget this.
Okay.
In my basement, right?
Yes.
Promise?
No, but is there a shirt that has FOTM on it?
I'll make one for you.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll send it. What size?
All
are you?
right. Me?
Yeah.
Large. Look at
Okay.
me.
I don't know. You could be a medium. You look
No,
pretty
I'm
good.
not. In some shirts, I'm a medium, but they're made for much larger men.
Gotcha. So one of the topics of discussion is since, Trump started this rhetoric, we play national anthem. If an American team comes to play the Raptors or the Leafs, we play the Star Spangled Banner before the game. This is also elsewhere in the country. The Senators had this happen, Canucks, et cetera, et cetera. But Canadians have been booing the Star Spangled Banner. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
They're not booing the United States. They're booing the decision their president has made. So, yeah, you go ahead and do that.
Okay,
You bet.
glad you said that.
You bet.
Gare Joyce is a sports writer who had a Substack I read today who thinks it's his word lowbrow and he hates it. And I'm just here to say to you, Jeremy, hook it to my veins. The louder the boos, the better I feel.
Yeah.
Just boo like it's your job to boo that Star Spangled Banner.
Let me tell you something. You know why there's no more pennies in Canada? People were throwing them on the ice. Okay? That's why they got rid of them. Okay? So don't say that's classless when way worse things have been done.
But we can throw the nickels now.
Nickels. You can see the nickels
heavier.
better than the pennies. That's all I'm saying.
Give me a good loonie, man. It's bright. It's gold.
You're not going to throw it. You're not going to waste $1 on the Leafs.
You're wearing a Leaf, so you still root for the Leafs.
Of course I do. I'm still waiting for them to finally win the cup in my lifetime.
So you don't
I'm
remember
invested.
67?
No, of course not. Good Lord.
I've lost track of time
My
here.
God. I don't even think they had television then, did they? I don't think so.
It was black and white. I think they.
No,
had
they
it.
just had newsreels.
They'd show it before movies at the cinema. Like there's a little newsreel, and the Leafs won the cup.
The Leafs won the cup against. They're better than the other 5 teams. That's all it was. There were 6 teams in the league the last time the Leafs won the cup. It's embarrassing.
Do you watch from California?
Of course I watch as long as I can last. Sometimes I fast forward a lot when it comes to the Leafs. They're so fast. When you fast forward, they play much better.
That's not. I always watch sports live, but now you've got me thinking I should be watching sports at like 2.5 times the speed.
Listen, I don't ever watch it live. I watch it taped at about 1 o'clock in the morning for my neighbors, so they can hear. Yeah.
So they played those 3 back to back, those clips of you kind of talking about Americans, which I enjoyed. And here's a little bit of a fun reversal here. Let's listen.
From Canada. Not a very tough country, Canada. They got an army. They just didn't give them guns or anything. Here comes the Canadian Army with plastic knives and forks. Flee the village. Somebody hide the cake. Look at the Canadian flag. It's not a symbol of power. It's a leaf. Don't screw with Canada. We'll dry up and blow away. Yet somehow they're the peacekeepers of the world. Big war breaks out. Canada shows up. Stands right in the middle. Break it up, fellas. We brought maple syrup for you.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Canada should just attack another country. Man, no one would see that coming. Greatest coup in military history. lay low for 275 years. Suddenly attack Turkey. Just show up. To hell with you. We're taking it. And we're calling it chicken, you assholes.
What's that from?
Turkey, what the hell?
You were in
kind of name is
Australia.
that for a
Oh,
Because I cut it, but at
We're
some point
moving
you
on
start
chili
talking about
mix.
like Australian things.
did I?
Yeah.
Because I do that, you know?
Canada attacked
Yeah.
the 4 major food groups today.
So there you go. And I do remember, I don't know if it was Global or whatever, some comedy special I recorded to VHS back in the 90s where you talked about, Mr. Christie, you make good cookies. Just don't mail
boy.
them, you asshole.
Yeah, if you had that, still, some of my fans would be thrilled because they've been asking for that, and I don't have a copy of that thing. That was a CTV.
CTV.
Only in Canada. I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember, but it was a CTV comedy special. And
Well, you know
Don't
who we
have it.
put on the case here? There's a gentleman named Retro Ontario who basically just rips old VHS and archives it online. I will put out a note and see if he has come across this special.
wow.
Like, I'll do it. And his name's Ed Conroy, and this is what he does. And
He's called Retro Ontario.
Retro Ontario.
And what he finds old stuff?
He basically, he's like a natural born archivist, much like myself, but he gets people send them their old, oh, my grandfather died. He had 100 VHS cassettes. You take them and he digitizes them and he shares clips, not only on this podcast, but on his YouTube channel.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
But it's
like-
a lot of research because you got to go through all those tapes, right? You,
know,
got to
it's a-
look at them.
It's a lot of research, but as he rightly said, he says that there's no one really caring about the archival. Like, you know, companies are bought by Bell or Rogers and they don't care about the old stuff. Like, there was a Much Music documentary called 299 Queen Street, which might be coming to Crave. Who knows? It's been a couple of years sitting on the shelf trying to get out. But bottom line is, like, Bell Media doesn't have this old footage in their library, but Ed Conroy, Retro Ontario, does, and he's got a credit in this movie because they use his archival footage when they're showing Much Music in 1984.
Wow, he should start a channel and start showing those shows.
Well, he does show a lot of stuff. If you go to Retro Ontario on YouTube, you can see a lot. But I will ask him if he has that because it's kind of tattooed in my brain, and I still remember that because Mr. Christie has this like a water tower thing in Park Lawn in South Etobicoke, and I bike by it all the time, and I still hear your line about, Mr. Christie, you make good cookies, just don't mail them, you asshole.
Yeah, you know what? I know the thing you're talking about. You see it from the freeway there?
Yeah.
And
From the Gardner, yeah.
I remember driving by there when I was young, and I see that, and
And you used to be able to, back when Mr. Christie was there, you could smell the cookies being baked.
I don't think it. I think the company still exists, right?
No, I think the company exists.
I
but
think it's
that,
American, though.
Well, then fuck them.
Yeah, I think it is American.
I'm done with them. Like, I'm done. I know you live there. Bless your heart, Jeremy Hotz, but fuck this rhetoric from Trump that's making me uncomfortable. My kids my kids read the news. They're legit worried about our sovereignty.
Okay,
Like, we
let
don't
me
want to
tell
be
you something.
51st
Let
state.
me tell
Talk
you
to me,
something.
Jeremy. Talk
It's
me off the ledge.
not. It's not. Again, I go back to it's Donald Trump. It is not all the people. So you can't go. I hate America. You can't because most of the
They
people
elected this guy. It's not like they didn't know what he was.
look at okay. Trudeau's not very popular. What are your choices? Just saying.
But he's already announced his resignation. So
Yeah,
like
okay.
he's out in March.
And then who's coming in?
Mark Carney or Chrystia Freeland. They're having a vote.
Okay, and who's going to win the next election?
The guy who wants to defund the CBC.
And how do you feel about
will
that?
never get another newsroom.
That's right.
Poor Ken Finkelman.
That's right. Poor Jeremy, who wasn't going to get another one anyway because of the CBC.
Well, now, okay, that's actually because of course, we're going to talk at the end of what we can expect in Richmond Hill. I'm very excited. Richmond Hill is very close to Toronto, just right there.
It's right there.
It's right there.
It's right over there.
They share a border, much like Canada and the USA.
That's right. No fentanyl in Richmond Hill.
But you're now decades in the United States. And I was reading in your bio, this is like the Jeremy Hotz approved bio. Okay?
Yes.
So, this is.
Oh, I didn't have anything to do with that
Nothing to do
stuff.
with it? Okay, because it says
Yeah.
here, but this must be true. And I'm just
Okay.
curious. It goes, Jeremy was offered major development deals from CBS, Disney, and Comedy Central.
It's the truth.
So can you tell me a little bit, like, I'm wondering why is why don't I see Jeremy Hotz on the latest HBO comedy or on the Netflix series that my wife is consuming?
There's a lot of reasons for that. Politics mostly. This very political situation there that came on. The guy that runs Netflix right now or makes those decisions used to come from Just for Laughs. There's no more Just for Laughs.
No.
But there's a comedy festival in LA.
So it's political.
Very much so. That's the way it is. No big deal because I still travel around the world doing my shows. I don't care. What do you think?
Because your fans come out to
absolutely
because you're fucking funny.
Yeah, well, there it is. But there's other things that you have to be when you're a comedian now, not just funny. See how wrong that is?
Like, what do you have to be? Beautiful?
That's part of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
TikTok friendly?
Yeah, TikTok friendly, beautiful. Yeah, let's just say anatomy is destiny.
Reading between the lines here. My goodness gracious. Can you give me any further detail about these development deals? Like, why were they just like...
They gave me a bunch of money and said, stand over there in case we need you. They didn't. So I took the money and just moved. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then...
Especially because we've already told you we don't want you here. Like, your industry...
But it's not just my industry. It's a lot of industries in Canada do this. I mean, this is like a lot of, okay, thanks, get out of here. It's like, I don't know what that is. Like, look at England. They develop their own shows and they're really good.
Yeah.
I watch the British... detective shows more than the American ones because they're way better. The American ones are like the same as like The Guiding Light or something. They're soap operas.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
The other thing that tells you about crime and stuff and you learn, it's better shows. They are.
But when we do have a good show,
television for smarter people.
But we had a good show. Okay, I had Jason Priestley on the show.
Nice guy. I did his show.
Right.
I did his series.
That's exactly where I'm going. So we talked about Call Me Fitz.
I did a season on that.
Yeah,
with Michael Gross.
There should have been more seasons.
Well, yeah, and everybody liked doing the show, and the lady that created it was fantastic, and I don't know what to say about that. I don't know why stuff goes away in Canada, even if it's popular. I have no idea, because in America that doesn't happen. If something's popular, it's on for years, Canada, man, the CBC didn't even hang on to the Hockey Night in Canada theme. They didn't even hang on to the famous theme that was vintage and had been there since the beginning.
Dolores Clayman.
What?
That's the woman who owned that.
Wow. And what did they say when that was bought by another network? Oops.
Yeah, Bell Media bought it and they aired on TSN games.
Duh.
Duh's in the name of our country.
Yes.
Canada. Duh.
Wow, huh?
Oh, man.
I know, I'm right. It's sad, really, because it would be so much better if they just did the great stuff, and they don't at all.
It's the real talk. In the same... So I'm trying to, take back this Canadian flag, because, the convoy took it from us, and then now we're trying to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know this, right? And I feel this great patriotism as we face this threat, like we're all unified, because there's a existential threat in this country. Our sovereignty, I feel like our sovereignty is in jeopardy here. And
your sovereignty.
Yeah, you don't think so?
I don't know. Is Charles on the money in Canada yet?
I don't know if they printed those yet because no one uses money anymore. Like, I feel like, what's the point of cash nowadays? I mean, I know it needs to exist, but why print new cash? We're all tapping.
It's true, but you still need cash.
Right.
Have you seen his ears? You're going to have to stick two bills together to see the whole face. That's all I'm saying.
Très misérable. So I want to dive into this tour because it's more than just... I mean, I'm looking at the tour dates here. We're talking on February 4th.
Look at them all.
Like Guelph and London people are listening too, as is Hamilton and Sarnia people.
Because you're Toronto, Mike, and you go to like tons of areas, right?
There's people who can't afford to live in Toronto and have moved to Guelph, London. Ben Murgie's in Hamilton now because he got priced out of Toronto.
No, he didn't.
In fact, this is a fun fact. I got a note from Ralph the other day to basically say we should have a double date. So he's his second wife, beautiful, talented Courtney, and him, and then my wife and I are going to meet somewhere in West Toronto for dinner, like in the next couple of weeks, and I'll come back and report every detail of this thing. But this is like being planned right now. But he is in Hamilton.
On the mountain?
I don't know where he is.
You know
but
the
he's in
mountain?
Hamilton.
It's more of a hill. They call it a mountain, but it's
Oh, is
Hamilton.
that where like Dave and Ian Thomas are from? This is Dundas.
It
used to be called Dundas. and
I
now
don't
it's
know.
Hamilton?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to get to these tour dates, especially the one that's closest to us, which is February 7th. I want to give some love very quickly to a gentleman named Nick Iones, who is the CEO and founder of Fusion Corp Developments. And I'm going to chat with him Friday because literally, Jeremy, I put out a plea, like, we need a new partner of Toronto Mike, and he puts up his hand, and he's helping to make this happen. Like, I have Jeremy Hotz in my basement right now because of people like Nick Iones. So I'm going to chat with him and tell you more about what he's up to with building Toronto skyline. And a piece of advice for all the Canadians listening that live in Canada, not like Jeremy, who abandoned us because we said there was no business for you.
I
here.
was bulldozed out of this country.
Yeah, would you come back, though? Would you come back?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Ron
wanted.
James came back.
What?
Ron James came back.
When did Ron James leave?
He did leave for a little bit.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well
he never called
documented
me.
on this. He was a long time ago now, but
He didn't call me, I guess.
He's back. But I want to tell people that recyclemyelectronics.ca is where you go if you have old devices, old laptops, old cables. You don't throw it in the garbage because
Don't flush your batteries down the toilet.
and don't flush the feathers down the toilet because it could be a voodoo thing.
That's true with Ken Fink. Seriously. Voodoo.
Let's get Ken on this
What?
program.
I don't even know what voodoo is.
I know the guy in Major League was doing voodoo to his bat.
That's the only time I've ever seen it, too. To get more hits.
He
That's
couldn't
the
hit the
only time.
curveball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great fucking movie. Okay.
Yeah.
So go to recyclemyelectronics.ca. Okay. By the way, have you had any contact with Sandra Bullock since Speed 2?
Yeah, I did, actually. She, yes, I did. And, I danced with her on the beach during that movie.
I have to pretend I watched it.
No, you don't, actually. Just say you did and then move on.
I think I skipped it, but I was happy
She
to
was
see
really
you in
nice to me, and I've been really fortunate that way with that kind of thing. I did another one called My Favorite Martian with Elizabeth Hurley. She was really nice to me because she thought I was funny, so I would sit next to her in the makeup thing, and to look like Elizabeth Hurley, she had to sit there for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I sat there for about 36 seconds.
My goodness, that's the patriarchy at play right there. But you are funny. Like I'm telling you now, I've always found your stand-up to be funny, and I don't know when you invented that thing you do.
That's anxiety. That happened. That's
and
just
I got to
anxiety.
say, it works for you, man.
It did now, but at first it was, hey, get your hand in front of your face and get it out. You never go anywhere with that. And then, I did. So shut up. You can put your hand in front of your face. I turned my back on if you do everything wrong, it works. I think.
I got to write that down. I've been doing everything right. No wonder nothing's fucking working over here.
Is that George the Animal Steel? That old WWF character?
Yeah.
It is. I love that guy. He used to eat popsicles before he went on, right?
Well, yeah.
To make his mouth the color.
And then he'd eat the turnbuckles. Do you remember this?
And he'd tear the stuffing out of the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
That's what he used to do. Yeah.
Captain Lou Albano, I think, was his manager.
Maybe.
I think so. I feel like it was Captain Lou who had the rubber bands on his face. Do you remember this? Like
and his beard, you would tie it with rubber bands for no reason. Do you
remember when Cyndi Lauper?
That was her real manager, right? Wasn't it?
She had she was going by Mona Flambe. And she was on the wrestling album. This is like 84, 85 or something like that. But in the video for like her biggest hit, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Captain Lou plays her dad in the video.
Is that what it is?
But they were definitely connected because there was a rock and wrestling era in the mid 80s that I was really big on where Cyndi Lauper was key in this rock and wrestling.
She was one part of one of those WrestleManias, a very important part of a very important WrestleMania once.
And you know who else was a part of a WrestleMania once? Donald Trump.
He was. You a big
wrestling fan?
That era, yes, that's it. Not now or anything or before, but we happen to have the best era of wrestling. We got lucky.
We had Andre. That's an Andre the Giant mug.
Andre was great. My fave was, he's a fan of mine, is Bret the Hitman Hart. He comes to my shows in Calgary when I'm there. Yeah.
He's the only WWF wrestler, I believe, who has appeared on The Simpsons.
He did actually do that. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. No, greatest guy. And he's the hitman guy too.
Yeah.
He's got a hockey team and everything. So, wow. Just a great guy. And they love him. And I remember when he came to see me once in Calgary, and there was a guy in the bar afterwards, just like, I guess, trying to threaten him because he's a wrestler. Like, and then the hitman just glared at him, and the guy ran away. He just looked at him like it was really funny. Wow.
There's not many survivors from this era because wrestlers died too young, much like stand-ups.
Yeah, because they get thrown on their head. You know, we just get kicked out of the country.
But I got distinct memories of the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, and of course it was Bret the Hitman Hart, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Yeah.
And that they were the Hart Foundation. But the crowd, just like we're going to boo the U.S. anthem when they played at Leaf games here, they would boo Bret. They called him Greaser, like Greaseball, Greaser. Like he was a heel in the beginning.
He was a bad guy for a while.
Yeah.
I like him as a bad guy. I always did.
I like heels.
Yeah, I like the bad guy. So
I like that guys. Well, one of my favorite heels, who no longer with us, Toronto guy, Roddy Piper. He was my favorite.
Was he Canadian? Yep. Wow.
Yep. Well, there was like a whole factory coming out of Calgary. The Stu Hart? Yeah. Stu.
It was his dad. It was the Hitman's dad was Stu Hart.
But he would be like training all the wrestlers that we love. We're all trained through this like Calgary Stu Hart factory.
Yeah. And then they became like big famous wrestlers. And that was our era. There's a lot of Canadians, man.
100%. A lot of Canadians.
Did you ever see Them? It's the movie that Roddy Piper's in.
Wasn't it called They Live?
Oh, They Live. That's it. Yeah.
Them is like the Van Morrison.
That's right. You got it wrong. They Live half right.
But 100. Rowdy's great in it.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I'm here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm almost out of gum, or something like that. Right? It sticks with me, man. Just like that Mr. Christie line.
He was really good as an actor. You know who's not a great actor?
Hulk Hogan.
I was just gonna say Hulk Hogan. When he doesn't wear the yellow tights, he's useless.
Oh, listen to me, brother.
Yeah, he's not the best actor.
He's a big trumper, too, this Hulk Hogan character.
Is he?
He appeared at the Republican National Convention or whatever, yeah. Yeah, I'm here to break it to you. But a lot of the ways, like, I think about, like, a lot of my heroes, like Wayne Gretzky. Okay?
Gretzky was there. I heard that,
Doug
too.
Flutie, like, all these guys I love, just like, I find out, they're...
Gretzky was there because Trump said he should be Prime Minister of Canada.
No, but he said you should be governor of the 51st state of Canada.
Oh, what an idiot. Wow. Wow.
We should boo him, too, by the way. What can us Jeremy Hotz heads, that's what I'm going to call this from now on, the Hotz heads, what should we expect from... And again, it's been going in the West Coast, but I ignore everything west of Winnipeg. You know that. But Jeremy Hotz is called Très Miserable. Yeah. It's your 2025 tour. Yeah. You've already been through BC and Alberta.
Yeah.
So when you went to the Bella Concert Hall in Calgary, the Hitman was there?
Not this time.
Not this time.
No, he wasn't. Really disappointing.
So wait a minute. So you're out west, but then you went east before you came here.
Don't talk about the scheduling. Don't talk about
I just see like Halifax and Moncton.
Look at Sophia. She's shaking her head.
Is she responsible for this?
No. She's going through it with me, and she's furious.
She's saying,
yes.
why don't we just go west to east?
This is the way they did the whole time. How come we're doing this and this and this? And I go, I don't know the country that well. They kicked me out of it. I don't remember.
Well, you're welcome back anytime. You know, they might close the border. You might have to stay here.
Oh, no.
So, okay, then it gets more interesting because you're here in Ontario for a spell. So, again, your next Ontario gig is Richmond Hill, February 7th.
That's right.
But then the next day, you're in Guelph and then London. Then
I'm all over the place.
They give you a little break. Maybe you and me and Ralph Benmergui and...
I have some time off so I could come back and do another 5 hours on Toronto Mike.
Oh, you think you're falling asleep? Okay, I'm wrapping up right after I promote your fucking show, Jeremy. I'm trying to sell you some fucking tickets. Do I get a cut of this action?
Oh, God. Join the club. Everybody gets a cut.
I give you a lasagna, okay? I give you beer, and I promote your show. No money changes hands.
Yeah.
And you have the audacity. American Jeremy Hotz, to sit here and tell me that you're falling asleep. It's been 5 hours.
I didn't say I was falling asleep. You said that. You said falling asleep.
Meanwhile, I was told by the great legend that is Eric Alper that I get an hour, and I'm at 54 minutes, and damn it, I'm taking every fucking
wait
second.
Wait a second. Eric Alper, he's my publicist. He's famous.
On social media, yeah.
Yeah. He knows everybody, that guy. He knows everybody.
Knows.
If he called Trump, he probably got the 30-day extension by calling Trump and going, cut it out.
So let's talk. How did you hook up with Eric Alper?
My manager.
Okay, so
Adam. Yeah.
Okay, I'm connecting these dots here now.
Yeah.
You know Grossman's Tavern?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Why? Who's
It's a great music. So Grossman
Yeah.
was Alpert's grandfather, and he started this very famous Toronto musical venue.
It's a tavern?
Yeah, but musicians do play there.
Still?
They still play there. I
Wow.
don't believe the family owns it anymore. Like they might have sold it. But Eric Alper, I've had him over a few times.
And he promoted some of those bands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he comes from it or whatever.
Yeah.
And his daughter's pretty talented too.
He's coming on, what is it?
Richmond Hill,
What night is that?
the 7th.
Wait a minute.
The 7th.
Eric Alper's going to be at your Richmond Hill.
How about that?
Performance. That's what you should put at the big font at the top. Meet Eric Alper, and then the smaller font is your what do you call it? Les Miserables, Tres Miserables. Okay. So
can
what
I
can we
write
expect?
Meet Eric Alpert, $5?
Yeah, I was going to say 10,
Okay,
but
10.
5 works too. Come
Okay.
here.
But
so
I
here
get
on
to
our
keep
final
the
minutes
money.
here, because I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you here. Okay. I don't want you to storm out.
I'm not going to storm out
I've
of the
never
show.
lost a guest yet. Like
I'm not going anywhere. You said it. I didn't say it. I just said
see,
5
because
hours.
I now see you as American, so I feel like I'm ready
not
to go.
American. My God.
Promise?
I'm a Canadian. I still vacuum myself. I do. I don't even. I do my own vacuuming,
Well, I see you're wearing the Leafs hoodie, so
and I do it like in that movie. I do it topless.
Now you have my attention here. What can we expect in this Tres Miserables tour date? And are you doing any pivots to anti-American stuff because it's so hot right now?
Of course I will. But you know, you've seen me before. I'll be hearing about half of it for the first time too, and the other half I've prepared. So that's the way it is, and it's a back and forth that I love to do, and that's what's made me so popular for all these years. I'm really lucky that like you said, I'm old, and a lot of my friends they're gone. You understand that, right? So it's difficult when you're still there and they're not. You feel sadness.
Damn it, you bum me out here, but shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. I do know, like, I'm thinking of like Robin Williams and stuff. There is a correlation between the very funny and I'm going to say like not a tortured soul, but there's a yin and a yang at play here where there's a lot of darkness in these people that produce such funny for us.
Yeah, it is.
Is there darkness in you?
It's the clowns crying inside that crap.
That crap.
It's the truth. There's something to that, you know. Every clowns die too, you know, and that's why there's funeral homes. And let me ask you a question, all right?
Anything.
Because it's sponsored by a funeral thing. Why do they call them funeral directors? When they say action, nobody moves.
I'm going to ask Brad Jones that. Jeremy Hotz, we'll have to arrange our dinner date with Ralph Benmergui during that gap.
I loved him, you know. He had a great voice too. Ralph had a great voice. And he worked at the CBC for years.
He was the host of Friday Night.
With Ralph Benmergui.
Do we need a Canadian talk show?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there wasn't one. Remember how popular the Mike Bullard show was?
I'm trying to forget, but yes.
Yeah, but it was.
Yeah.
And there was never another one. How come? Gee, we don't want to make money here. Get out of here. That's why.
You know what? Now I'm on the American side. You know, fuck this country of ours. Canada does in the name of our country.
They're weak they're weak in the arts, I'm afraid. Build up your culture.
We need
Let's
to be
go.
better.
Yeah.
And while we have the greats like Jeremy Hotz, we need to support them. So everybody buy as many tickets as you can while you can, because funny guy. Just ask Palma Pasta's Anthony Petrucci. Thanks for doing this, man. Seriously, thanks for doing this. You earned your lasagna today.
Palma Pastas.
You're going to love it. What do you do? Like, are you in a hotel room? Like, where are you going to cook this lasagna?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a
just don't
thing
want
in
it to
that
go to
room
waste.
that, yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can. I know how to light things on fire.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,625th show.
It's a lot of shows.
Go to Toronto Mike, and 2 of them featuring you. 2.
That's a lot.
Not
1,600?
Go back and, you know what you should do? Listen to your original appearance just to jog your memory that you've been on Toronto Mike before.
Okay.
You'll do that. That's your homework. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. I'm on the great Blue Sky. I'm waiting for Jeremy there. At torontomike.com on Blue Sky.
What are your Toronto Mike needs? Like, what are those?
Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery. I got some lagers for you. Palma Pasta. Got a lasagna for you.
Nice.
RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Building Toronto Skyline. We'll learn more about Nick on Friday. And Ridley Funeral Home. Measure what you wish. My next guest on Toronto Mike, it's the return of Elephants and Stars, kicking out the jams. That's Manfred. We're going to hear some great music and have a great chat with Manfred from Elephants and Stars. See you all then.